Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Primodos was a drug made by the German company Schering back in the 60s and 70s, and it was sometimes used as a way of detecting pregnancy. But using powerful synthetic hormones, it may have caused birth defects in the children of pregnant women. It was withdrawn from use in 1978, but the question of whether the drug was behind a number of birth defects is still very current. This week, campaigners are meeting the Department of Health to discuss the progress, or lack thereof, of an expert medical group looking at the issue. There's a Sky News documentary on the drug tomorrow. But the story has a twist. In 2015, campaigner Mary Lyon found internal company documents in the Berlin State Archive suggesting that our chief medical officer had warned Schering in 1975 that Primodos did indeed cause such abnormalities, and he had then destroyed the evidence so that it couldn't be used in court. Well, Mary Lyon joins me now. Very good evening to you. And
Hello.
You took Primodos.
I did, yes.
And you think it affected your daughter. What
Yes.
effect did it have?
When Sarah was born, she had her arm missing from just below the elbow. There was a tiny pad and 5 tiny fingers where the arm should have been, so it was as if the growth had just stopped quite abruptly. Those fingers and that tiny pad were actually amputated when she was 13 months old, so that she could be fitted with an artificial arm.
Right. And she's got the artificial arm, she's working and is
She is,
yeah,
yes.
So, but came out of it relatively well compared to some.
She certainly did. We have a lot of our members with multiple abnormalities, not just one. You've got transposition of valves, heart disease, brain disease, spina bifida.
And what is the actual evidence that the drug was involved in this?
We had quite a lot of evidence. There's a statistical graph that shows that the drug was kind of just on the same track as abnormalities. That was one thing that came out quite early on. We also found that there were testing results that were in Schering's own files, and they actually showed abnormalities in animal studies. But also, the drug itself was actually manufactured as an abortive agent. So a drug that's 40 times the strength of an oral contraceptive is a huge thing to give to a woman early in pregnancy.
Well, it is. I mean, you can think back to those times,
Yes.
and now you just say, what were they thinking?
What were
really?
they? They weren't.
When you took the drug, what was a pill, presumably?
It was 2 tablets, yes, 2 tablets.
Do you even remember taking it?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Yes, it's something because it was my first child. So my initial thoughts were it would be a urine test, and the urine test was very widely available at that time. And when I was given the 2 tablets, it was sort of on the understanding that this is new, this is quick, you will be able to know you're pregnant within days. So I didn't question, because my doctor gave them to me. And consequently, your doctor
you
is someone that you
didn't know this is powerful.
Oh, we had
hormone,
no idea. We weren't even told. It was a test. It wasn't a therapy like thalidomide, where it's there for a purpose. The only purpose for this was money, remuneration.
Bayer, which now owns the company
Yes.
that produced the drug, Schering, reject all claims that
Of
there
course
was
they
a
do.
link, and there was a court case, wasn't there? And
There was.
The link wasn't held up in that case.
We didn't
back
actually.
in the 80s.
We didn't get to that stage. We had a handful of scientists who were willing to give evidence. Schering's had 3 times the same number of scientists, including, I may add, Dr. William Inman, who was the Commissioner on Safety
Chief
of Medicine.
Medical Officer at the time. Yeah.
So he was someone that should have been looking after the health of the women in the UK, but he actually chose to give evidence on behalf of Schering's against the association. We had to withdraw, and that really is the bottom line. We withdrew because we were outnumbered and outgunned. But the judge at the time, Judge Bingham, insisted that the case should not be closed.
And it's not closed for you,
No, it absolutely isn't closed. There are too many people whose lives have been affected for 40 plus years. You know, they've lived half a life. And that's how you've got to look at it. And it's about time that answers were actually given, and it's about time that Bayer actually were big enough to actually release all the documentation.
And I will stress that Bayer,
Yeah,
of course,
I know
denied-
that, and I
denied
understand
Mary,
that.
thank you very much.
You're
indeed.
very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've been getting